Hey everyone, welcome back to another podcast episode. So today's episode is going to be a deal analysis about a house hack in the West Highlands. So we'll go through the normal deal analysis about the client, the investment, the numbers while he's living there, and the numbers once he's moved out to move on to the next rental property. But before we dive into it, I've got someone new to introduce to the podcast that you'll be hearing from a lot over the next couple of years, and her name is Lauren Valinoti. And she's an agent and had a great opportunity a couple months ago to partner up with her. So she and I have been friends and colleagues for, I think, a little over 2 years, maybe two and a half years now, right, Lauren?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, and then just as we were growing, and she's always had the investment focus as well, great opportunity and timing for us to partner up. So, Lauren, I'm glad to have you on the team.
Thank you so much. I'm super excited to be here. I've been an avid podcast listener for quite some time, so really excited to actually be here.
Yeah. So we will dive into these details. And so, Lauren, you can take the lead on this because this is a property I think you closed on, I know it was a Q3 in 2020, but it was in, I think, August, right?
Yep.
Okay. So give us the background on just the whole overview.
Yeah, so our client here, he was looking to purchase his second investment property. He has been house hacking already on his first and was looking to do another house hack. And for this one specifically, location was really important to him. So we needed to find a really good balance between investment and lifestyle. He's young, single, and just wanted to be able to be closer to the city. So that was one of our main focuses here. And then when trying to identify a property, he wanted to find something that over time he would be able to add value to and be able to continue to increase the rents, and then also more of a longer term plan. He was looking for something that was zoned with a additional dwelling and also had the proper lot size to be able to do the additional dwelling.
And that's an important thing to always look at because, with the new Denver zoning code, a lot of stuff, might be zoned ADU with the overlay, but you always got to check the actual lot size too because,
Exactly.
a lot of Denver lots are pretty normal,
Yep.
and then sometimes they're not normal, and then you're a couple hundred square feet short of being able to build one.
Exactly.
So this one checked out, right?
Yep.
All right. So as Lauren said, this is actually, I think he bought his first house hack about 2 years ago.
Yeah, and he's crushing it.
Yeah, and the first one is a great one up in Arvada,
Mm-hmm.
mother-in-law suite, so lots, just a great area, great income. But as you said, a little bit farther away from the city and the action that you're seeing in the West Highlands. So moved down there, wanted to find it. And this is actually a property that, like we said, a lot of times we find the house hacks and nomads on the MLS. But this was pretty unique because you scooped up this deal. Props to you on this, Lauren. Give us the background on how you guys actually found this property and you hustled to make this one happen.
Yeah, so I have a handful of clients that are looking specifically in this area. So I am pretty active looking in this area for any new inventory. There's just not a lot that pops up over here. So this one was a coming soon listing on the MLS, and this is something that's new on the multiple listing service. So I was just able to reach out to the agent and just start doing my normal thing of just trying to get as much information from the listing agent as possible, and just discovered that the sellers, they had already bought their replacement home. They were using a concierge program through a brokerage called Compass here. And that's a 6-month free, 0 interest loan to do any updates to the home to try and maximize the value of the home whenever you go to sell it. This was all during COVID at the same time. So they were struggling to get contractors in. The project was falling behind. And at the end of the day, they were just feeling a lot of pressure. So this one, they were waiting for the basement to be finished out before actually listing it. So the clock was ticking on them.
And so they've got this 6-month basically interest-free, time. If they go past it, I'm assuming they start paying interest or penalties or something.
They have to pay the whole interest that would have been accrued from the very beginning.
Oh, wow. So it's the whole amount accrued.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's going to add up to a couple dollars there and cause some stress.
Correct.
And go back a few steps, because you mentioned in the MLS that there's that new coming soon, which is, that's what, maybe a couple months old? I forget when the National Association of Realtors kind of made this new rule. So tell the listeners about this rule and this nuanced update, because it's very nuanced, but you got people like Lauren out there hustling. You can go out there and scoop up some of these deals.
Yeah, so about, I want to say 4 months ago, this was a rule that was put into effect, and you are not allowed to have anybody walk through a home if it's listed as a coming soon until it actually hits active on the MLS. But I found out that there is a loophole for this by, if you go under contract, sight unseen, then you are then technically able to scoop up a coming soon listing. And how we wrote up the contract was within 24 hours of after going under contract, my client had the right to go and do a visual inspection to make sure that the property is holding up to the way that it was actually marketed, on the listing. And then also too, the real estate agent was just fantastic on the other side, was able to send us pictures beforehand. So that was pretty much how we were able to move forward with it. And every client is different. Some are comfortable with that. But again, it was listed at 580, which I'm sure we'll go over the numbers on the next slide. And after doing a couple of deals recently, I just knew with such low inventory plus low interest rates that this one is going to go for well over $600,000 if it hit the MLS. So just explaining the opportunity, the appreciation value, our client felt comfortable enough to go ahead and move forward. It hit all the other boxes that he was looking for. So that's pretty much how we were able to move forward on it.
Yeah, and I mean, just to kind of stress from the point you said is, most properties in Denver, especially in the Highlands, West Highlands, that area, property goes on the market, multiple offers, over ask, and it's, you'll get a black eye or two and usually lose out on a couple opportunities until you snag one. So this is why this one was such a great deal.
Yep.
All right, so let's talk about the property here. So it's a detached single family in the West Highlands. It's not too far from like 44th and Sheridan. Mm-hmm. So it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. I actually haven't walked the property, so describe the layout to me, because there was some value add stuff here.
Yeah, so the biggest value add was, again, the fact that the client or the seller was already remodeling and finishing out the basement. So the biggest value that we saw was in the basement. There is a separate entrance to be able to get down there, and it's already plumbed for my client to build out a additional kitchen down there. So pretty much everything was brand new down in the basement. On the first floor, they had a addition for the master bedroom, and they remodeled the bathroom as well on the first floor. And then the other bedroom is definitely a little bit on the smaller side. So realistically, if he's going to do a split unit, it's probably going to be a couple living on the top floor and then somebody else living on the bottom units. But the layout, so it was a two bedroom upstairs with 1 bathroom. The kitchen was pretty much dated, but a pretty good size. So again, really good value add there to be able to update a addition for the master bedroom. And then downstairs in the basement was a large open den space, really good height ceilings, a lot of natural lights, brand new built out bedroom, and then brand new 3/4 bathroom.
Yeah. So, I mean, great layout here. So let's talk about the, getting the actual contract done. We'd already talked about how you found the property and how you scooped that one up. So when under contract, and how was the due diligence and inspection phase?
Yeah, so another great thing about this property was it was just one single owner. So he was fantastic and was able to walk the property with us, the first section, and then me and my client, we were able to walk it privately, but the seller was able to point out all the additions that he's made, and when the inspector came out, pretty much just gave the home a gold star. I mean, the way that the house sit on the slope is something that I really focus on, making sure that there's been no water seeping into the foundation. There's a beautiful Douglas tree out front. Luckily, just the way that tree sits, none of the roots were going into the home or anything like that.
That is very fortunate.
Yeah, brand new roof. The only only downfalls of this property, again, we weren't able to see the finished product during the inspection of that basement. But just from what we did see, the quality of work was great. Me previously being with Compass, they were using a preferred contractor, so felt really good about the quality of work that they were going to be doing there. The only thing that we found was that the furnace was original. I forget the name that the seller, they had a name for it. And then also there was no air condition in this unit. So, the sellers had been there for quite some time. They were able to live with it. They were okay with not having AC. All of the windows were replaced. Overall, it was just a really good, solid property. There's a one-car garage in the back that doesn't have an automatic door, and then also the driveway going up into the one-car garage was pretty much done. But only concerns that we came back with, again, was just the old furnace and then not having air condition.
And the fact that for, I know a lot of people in Denver, they've walked these older homes, they've walked in this part of town, like the fact that the only major issue was a furnace.
Yep.
That's easy peasy for properties like this.
Exactly.
And what were some of the, because I get what you're saying. I'm curious if you can recall, one homeowner has been there for decades, and they a lot of times they take care of it well. They do these little upgrades. What were some of the things they're like, oh yeah, that's just like a great little bonus there that doesn't add value to the property, but it's just nice that it's done, or makes life easier.
Yeah, he was all about storage. So they really tried to just maximize the amount of space that they had for additional storage. He had built out the whole entire attic up there and put in additional vents. So it looked like the wife really loved Christmas. So the amount of Christmas stuff that they had up there was really impressive. But there was just little nooks and crannies throughout the whole house where he was able to put additional storage. So again, just being able to have that value for your tenants down the road is fantastic. So plus he was an avid gardener, had beautiful garden in the backyard. The front yard, there was no maintenance. So it was a low maintenance yard in the front. The backyard was definitely his pride. He took very good care of it. He had the one-car garage, which was his workshop. Didn't really use it to park his car. Then he also had a additional storage. Oh, and another thing is, I forgot, they had replaced the whole entire sewer line.
Oh.
So I forgot to mention that.
Big bonus.
So that was, and that's also under warranty. So between the roof, the sewer line, everything else, it was just a really great value. It can be a little bit nerve-wracking when you're going into a older home, for sure.
Oh yeah, we've definitely dealt with some collapsed sewer lines in that part of town.
Yeah.
So what was the outcome of the inspection? I know it sounded like the main objection was the furnace.
Yep. My client did want me to also request to have the air conditioning unit installed. That was a hard one. I feel like for any seller to want to foot the bill for something that they were okay not living with. So of course they came back with saying no to the air conditioning unit, but they did come back with giving him a credit for the furnace. I got a quote, from one of Preston's HVAC guys who was phenomenal. It was probably the best pricing that I've seen, and he was able to quote us like $4,500 to be able to get a new furnace and a AC unit done at the same time.
$4,500 for both?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was extremely impressed as well. So we didn't want the seller to put in the new furnace and then us put in the air conditioning unit afterwards, because the amount of cost savings that you get of doing both at the same time, is fantastic. So we just asked for the credit for the new furnace. That way he could also get the air condition installed.
Makes sense. And what was the, you said about $4,500 for the credit, the furnace and the AC. Mm-hmm. What was the credit you got negotiated?
$3,500.
Oh, so
yeah, so it replaced the furnace.
Perfect. And
exactly.
An extra $1,000 for the AC. Mm-hmm. That's an easy pill to swallow.
Exactly. Yep.
So I know, this is his second house hack, so he's going with a 5% down conventional. And as the listeners probably know at this point, that's what most of our house hackers nomads go with, because that is a very easy, straightforward loan. Gives us lots of options, and you can do those all day long. First, second, third, fourth, 10th property. No issues there. So 5% down conventional. Now, this was something you, I remember at the time, since the basement was in the process of being remodeled. You guys had the appraisal done, looked good, but there were some conditions because of the remodel.
Correct. Yep. So the appraisal came in at value, and sometimes the appraiser, there's conditions that they find. One example on a previous deal that I done, the appraiser wanted the hot water heater to be attached to the wall. It was a safety deal. It was a FHA. So the appraisers for FHA can be a little bit more stringent, but I totally understand why the appraiser was requesting more information for pictures of the basement after it was finished, because he was quoting it based upon that bathroom being done. So they just needed to have proof and pictures that everything had been done, completed. Luckily, this appraisal company, they were okay doing pictures. They didn't charge us to have the appraiser come back out.
Great. So got that done, got the photos in, and appraisal came in back at value. And for PMI, he opted to prepay it and also bought the interest rate down, which we'll jump into here on the spreadsheet. So as you listeners know, we plug these properties into Joe Massey's rental spreadsheet. So we're going to go through the numbers here. We're going to do our best to give you a high-level overview so you can understand why you're listening. If you want the exact details or to see screenshots of the spreadsheet, click the link in the show notes or email me and Lauren, and we can send you over a spreadsheet as well. So we put in here, and we're going to run actually two analyses on. Let me back up a second. We're going to run one while he's living there, while he's house hacking, and then we'll run one when he moves out and converts it into a rental property once he's on to house hack number 3. So we plugged in 5% down, and then we plugged in upfront, we selected upfront paid mortgage insurance from the drop-down menu. Now in Joe's spreadsheet here, as you guys know, PMI calculations is a very wonky calculation. So his kind of gives an average out there, and they spent about $8,800 based on the spreadsheet. We won't give the exact amount, but his PMI was significantly lower than that, or the upfront payment on there was significantly lower than that. So what we did on there is we just lowered the acquisition cost to kind of offset those things right there to make it lower. So plugging the purchase price of $580, acquisition of about $8,000, down payment of just $29,000, and we put in there for the seller credits of $3,500 and the initial repair cost of about $5,700. So that's furnace, AC,
driveway, paint.
Okay, and this was stuff that needed to be done or stuff that he wanted to do?
Driveway, he definitely wanted to be able to use the garage, so that was something that he wanted to do.
Because you said it was like a small patch that needed to be done?
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing was just crumbling apart. So, and also, too, I know we chatted a little bit about garages. One way to make additional rent is you can just rent out your garage and make a pretty, like $100 a month on it, so.
Yeah. So do you know that his plan is going to rent it out to a tenant or someone? Because that's extra $100, $200 over there.
He's creative, so I think his whole plan is just to figure out how he can just maximize it. If that's the best route, then I'm sure he will definitely do that.
And so you guys are estimating about $5,700 for all that. Just repair the driveway, some paint, and then the HVAC and furnace, right?
Correct.
So all in, I mean, the spreadsheet says about $49,000, so that's a very close ballpark to what he was. And we had mentioned that he bought his interest rate down. Guys, interest rate at a stinking 2.5%.
He was so excited about that.
Yeah, I mean, so to date, I think he gets the gold star for lowest interest rate I've seen so far for a 30-year fixed. I've not seen anything lower than that, have you?
I haven't, no.
Yeah, I mean, so not. And this is one of the reasons kind of going back to, why, yes, the market's hot right now, but still a good time to buy because you're basically getting money that's cheaper than inflation on a 30-year fix. Like it's from a spreadsheet financial move, it makes a lot of sense. So of course we're doing a 30-year amortization on here, and so we run the rent numbers here. I know he mentioned maybe building out a kitchen or kitchenette in the basement.
Yes.
But you said he's planning on living in the basement, and then renting out the top floor to separate tenants. So we plug numbers here of $1,800 a month for the top, which is a 2-1 with kitchen, right?
With kitchen,
yeah. And so I think $1,800 over there sounds realistic / conservative, which is how we like to run the numbers. And then 5% vacancy, all the other normal assumptions, and we'll get into how much the bottom unit can rent for. And then, no property management while he's living there. We're still going to put away 8% of reserves while he's living there. Probably actually be less than that since he's living there, and the property sounds like it's just in really great shape for that area and age, right?
Yep.
Taxes are just over $2,000. Property insurance just under $1,000, so he got a great quote there. Water and sewer. I mean, and this is based off because you showed me the utility bills. Like this owner kept very meticulous spreadsheet records for like a decade plus.
Yes.
So run us through the utility numbers here because I know you guys dug into that.
Yeah, he again, our client, he's numbers oriented, really enjoyed working with him, and we were able to request this information from the seller, and it was just great that he had this in a Excel spreadsheet for us. So water and sewer is at $480. Electric is at $700, and then landscaping for $1,000. Again, he had xeriscape in the front. In the backyard is where he put a lot of pride into it. So $1,000 for that.
All right, so now we're going to go to the numbers here. So this is on the I think a cash flow tab of Joe's spreadsheet, that second tab on there. So it shows an annual cash flow of negative $12,500 a year, which is basically about a negative $1,000 a month. Now, again, just don't listen to that number. Put that in the context because he's living there.
Correct.
With very conservative underwriting of accounting for property taxes, insurance, utilities, all that stuff. So he's living in a hot part of town with lots of appreciation potential, great rent potential there as well, access to the cool stuff around there for $1,000 a month, which is basically about what it costs to rent a room out there.
Yep.
Give or take a couple bucks.
Yep.
But in the meantime, he's doing that while he's building equity, paying down debt, and has a great future asset. So while he's living there, only living for about $1,000 a month. And again, this is where it comes in the balance of like his main goal wasn't to maximize his cash while living there, but to buy he's very long-term focused, buy a long-term asset for retirement purposes, while also balancing out personal wants of living somewhere cool and enjoying the benefits of living near downtown. So looking at this, I mean, $1,000 a month to live there while holding an asset, that's a win in my book.
I would definitely agree.
Yeah. So now we're going to run through the analysis of once he moves out. So all these numbers are going to stay exactly the same. The purchase price, down payment, acquisition costs, interest rate, our assumptions, all of them stay the same because he's already bought the property, but this is going to be a year and a half, 2 years out when he moves out. And so we're being, again, conservative with rents, assuming our rent assumptions that we accounted for today. Hopefully in a year or two they've bumped up, a 1% or 2% or 3%, but we like to be conservative. So we put this as a 2-unit on here just for simplicity on the spreadsheet. So unit 1 we kept at $1,800 because he's going to rent out probably the top unit separately.
Yep. And
then the bottom unit you put in at $1,200.
Mm-hmm.
But explain to me what you did here with the adding the kitchen, because I think that's not with the kitchen, right?
Correct. Yeah, because if we added the kitchen for year 2, the initial repair costs would be going up for that. So just to make things easy for us is we're just me running this as if he would be renting out the bottom unit as is. So there would be no additional kitchen in the basement.
So altogether, that's about $3,000 a month in rental income, which is very realistic to me over there. And if he puts a kitchenette down there, you guys think what, $1,400-1,500 a month?
$1,800. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, for the down unit.
Yeah, 14. Yeah. Excuse me.
So rental income would bump up a couple $100 a month, and hopefully again with going a year or two out, hopefully some bigger rents as well. And the other thing too, in none of these calculations, we're not throwing in an extra $100, $200 a month for the garage or some more creative ways, which obviously would help cash flow numbers. So going through the move out, a lot of these assumptions are the same. He's going to self-manage. We put away 8% for repairs and maintenance. Taxes, stayed about that. Insurance, about the same. Water, sewer, I think he said he's going to continue to pay for. And then he has not figured out what he wants to do with the utilities yet. So to be very conservative, we underwrote it at he's going to be paying the Excel bill about maybe $1,500 a year. And he may just eat that, or he could probably pay it and then bump up the rents a little bit. And he's going to continue to pay for landscaping because I think like the previous owner, he's definitely got the green thumb too, right? So he wants to take care of it.
Yep.
Yeah. So a lot of times we'll put down the tenants to do the snow removal and landscaping, But it's funny, like the previous owner, he's got a green thumb too, so he wants to make sure it stays looking amazing, right?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes for tenants, if they're looking to save, a couple of extra bucks on their rent and bills, when it comes to landscaping, they're not going to be watering the lawn every single day.
Oh,
So,
I want to be. I don't care about brown grass on a rental.
Yeah, our client definitely wants to make sure that he's able to keep the yard looking well.
Yeah. So once he moves out here, estimating about $1,000 a year in cash flow. So usually what we say, if it's a negative 1,000 to positive 1,000 a year in cash flow, it's about break even in our mind because, hey, give or take a few bucks here and there. But again, and this is something you have to keep in mind about what the strategy, and this is something that our client knows, understands. He's got a very long-term mindset focus, believes in the Denver market, and just wants to build long-term wealth. So he likes the area because of all the appreciation, all the rent growth that he should see, and just a great long-term asset for retirement building. So the fact that's in cash flow, $1,000 a month on the $1,000 on the conservative side, you add in a kitchen update, you add in renting out the garage, and that could go up to $3,000-$4,000 a year then, so a good bump.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Did you guys have any estimates for what the cost to have the kitchen would be?
We don't.
Yeah.
I wish I had those numbers just so we could run it through here, but the space is already there. The plumbing, electric. One thing I didn't really mention beforehand, the seller's wife, she had her own sewing business downstairs in the basement. So when it comes to like electrical wiring, it is set up for it. So it should be super easy to get like a small stove in there.
And those are things a lot of people don't realize, especially like first-time house hackers, is looking at the electrical and especially the plumbing, because those are things that can really make adding in a bathroom or kitchen. I mean, that can be an extra $10,000-$20,000 if you have to jackhammer up the foundation or something.
Exactly.
So overall, I mean, just a phenomenal, long-term wealth building asset that also works well for him while he's living there. So just a win-win on the balancing act of good investment while also living there. So hats off to the client, and Lauren, hats off to you for scooping up this phone, because I remember you were telling me about it as you were hunting it down, and I was like, holy crap, you scored that one. So thumbs up to you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. All
right, so thank you for listening. Check the show notes. If you got questions, reach out to me, reach out to Lauren, and you'll be hearing us say a lot more from Lauren as well, because she is, we're partnered up now, and she is slinging a lot of deals. All right, have a great one, everyone.
Thank you.